Another ugly game that ended with a very similar final score was the Jets defeating the Eagles 20-14 at MetLife Stadium in New
Why you tee
Jersey.
up like that?
It was an ugly game.
Gary
You know
lobbed
it.
you like that, man. That's
I mean,
fast.
We can talk about the Niners first if Kevin's still recovering.
Nah, man. Cause I want to get this off because I got some shit to say. So I got to get my stuff off.
All right,
Please.
Kevin, then let's not waste any more time. Let's hear it then, because the Jets, they beat the Eagles 20-14 to give Philly its first L of the season.
Life comes at you fast.
So, ladies and gentlemen, like every episode, we bring up the group chat, and kickoff was 1:25. At 1:27 precisely, Kevin wrote his intro to the podcast, welcoming the last undefeated team and bringing in the Browns. And I was going to look up some theme song music, and fast forward about an hour and a half.
He's going to come in with the shades on.
Toddy came in and said, life comes at you fast, and it does. And it does. But to start this soliloquy off, I want to say to everybody out there, Jalen Hurts has been our quarterback for 44 games, and this is his second time throwing 3 picks in a game. So let's not say is he the next Josh Allen. He's leading the league in interceptions.
I don't know if that's a good thing, though. Like,
and
when
before
you have
I
3
say
picks in a game,
this,
it's a lot.
For all of us, we're all football heads. We all know the rule for a catch is 2 positive steps. We all understand that, correct? We all understand that? We all agree?
Yeah.
So when Dallas Goedert had 1 foot on the ground and got the ball hit out of his hand, we all agree it should have been an incomplete pass or a fumble, not an interception.
A football move, as they call it.
But was that even a football move? Like, I hate that because now it looks like he threw 3 picks when essentially it was only 2, but it looks horrible. But let's get into this game. The very first drive, it was everything that we've been waiting for. We've been waiting to see everybody get involved at the same time. The first drive, Jalen Hurts goes down the field 9 of 12 for 66 yards, 6 yards per pass. AJ Green had 2 catches for 18 yards, Smitty 2 for 18, and Dallas Goedert continued to have an impact this game. We were able to go down there and punch it in for an touchdown quarterback sneak. A lot of people thought that it wasn't going to be a touchdown, but it ended up being a touchdown.
That was on 4th down, right?
Yeah, on 4th down. But everybody wants to talk about where things went wrong. I will tell you exactly where the things went wrong. Dallas Goedert screen, like I mentioned, should have been an incomplete pass or a fumble. Them getting that turnover led to 3 points.
Let's have a shoulda count, like in the corner. Every time Kevin says shoulda.
That's the only one I'm going to say. The next one, DeAndre Swift fumble. We take it as it is. We want him to be that explosive guy, but Quinnen Williams' brother, I keep getting the names mixed up, but he went in there at Quincy, so he punched that ball out. And as soon as Quinnen got that interception and all they talked about was how the brothers both want 2 picks in the game, I was like, fuck, it's going to happen against us. We're going to have a D lineman and a linebacker brother core finish with 2 interceptions. But Lane Johnson going down and Nick Driscoll going in was the game. We saw the completely different game. Jalen Hurts was pressured 42%, which is a career high for him. He's coming in here. He's always had the consistency. And the example that I wanted to bring to the table today was, Toddy, you have a significant other close to a wife, so I'm going to go this the way to you. Your whole life, you guys have been doing things the same way. You wake up one day, and you got different toothpaste. You got a different toothbrush. She changed the sheets on you, and you're eating vegan. You're not going to like it. It's just going to be off. You're going to hesitate. You're going to look at this meat and be like, yeah, it's not cooked, but I'm going to be a nice husband. I'm going to be next baby dad. Like, I'm going to try my best. And we saw Jalen overcompensate. Because when that D-line was getting there, we saw him look like he wanted to run more than he wanted to throw, and that pressure really got to him. The money man all season was Jake Elliott, and for him to miss that field goal was just a cherry on the top to say that the Eagles game is just going to the left. We saw last week when Devontae Smith was pounding on the sidelines, everyone's texting me like, oh, my God, is he about to have an A.J. Brown game? Is he about to come out here and do the thing? I thought he was going to come in here and do the damn thing. I hit the over on everything. Over. Devontae Smith. Guilty. I was like, you know what? They're gonna go to him early and often. Let's hit the over. And for him to drop those 2 passes, just drive killers. Nothing but a huge potential for yards after catch. We talked about getting Devontae Smith early, getting him in there early and often, so when you need him in the big play, he's there for you. But the last thing I'm gonna say before I pass it off to Kaz, our last 7 drives were this: fumble, punt, interception, missed fumble, interception, turnover on downs. The only positive thing out of this soliloquy is Shaun showed up. I spoke about him last week, making that second half adjustments against the Rams to pull it home. He came out here and did his thing for us to give up 12 points. And I know Toddy's going to say, well, you guys give a touchdown at the end. We said, Ole, go ahead, straight to the end zone. Just go ahead and score, Breece Hall. You want your stats. You want your fantasy points, and we know you do. Go ahead and score. For us to lead that game to the last minute and 40 seconds really hurts. But a lot of good things out of this defense. So, like Cass said, there's nothing to really worry about. This offense has got to figure it out. But having this great defense behind us is going to help us get to where we want to be.
Great.
Kaz, I'm sure that Kevin covered that pretty well, but I wanted to ask you to follow up on a comment from Kevin's boy Manny, because he said in the YouTube comments, Hurts has thrown more interceptions in 6 weeks than he did all last year. I don't know if that's true or not.
He's a Seahawks fan for context.
Take that as you may, and that is important context.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, bro. I'm like, looking at Hurts this year and looking at Hurts last year, outside of the interceptions, which like Kevin mentioned, not all of them are his fault. And that happens with every quarterback. So I'm not going to make an excuse. There's plenty of quarterbacks that, even as much as I hate the guy, Dak Prescott, I mean, he's kind of guilty of that. He kind of gets a lot of last season, a few of those interceptions he threw out of the million that he did throw were off the hands of receivers. So
had one last week.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not big on tripping about interceptions when the yards still turn up. You know what I'm saying? A lot of great quarterbacks that can put up a massive amount of yards. You're going to throw picks. You're throwing the ball a lot. I don't want to have a Jimmy Garoppolo stat line from, when he was a Niner where it's 17 completions for 122 yards and no picks and 1 touchdown. Hey, it gets you to win, but it's like I can live with my guy going out there being aggressive and trying to get his playmakers the ball. And as an Eagles fan, Kevin can also vouch for me. We know Jalen Hurts. He's stone cold, man. He makes mistakes. He's gonna just brush it off. He's gonna go back out there and do the same thing. And that's something that I personally love about the guy. He doesn't let bad situations overcome his game. He's gonna go right back out there and do it again. And time again, he's done that. It's start off hot, something happens, come right back, march right back down the field. So, I mean, the picks. Yeah, I mean, would I want us to go without them? Of course, but it's not all telling. We're still putting up a lot of yards. He's still one of the better passers in the league right now, and we just had a sloppy game, man. I think I read a tweet. Well, I know I read a tweet. Somebody said, "This is what happens when you come in and you take a team lightly." Before the game started, Sauce Gardner was announced out. Reed was already out. They had no cornerbacks. This game was looking like it was going to be just Philadelphia all day. We came in the game. I believe we were 6.5 point favors, and I noticed that line didn't change. Maybe I didn't check it in the right amount of time. I'm like, why did the line not change? Something's weird here. We should be about 9 with no Sauce Gardner
10.
for sure.
Should have been 10.
Yeah, I'm like, we should have been 9.5 at least. I mean, the Jets are not a good team this year. They have a great defense, but collectively, the Jets are not a team that any good team should be worried about. So you come in there. You take the team lightly and you don't make proper adjustments. You play very conservative. This is what can happen. And at the end of the day, just like the Chargers tonight, plenty of opportunities, don't capitalize. What the reason for not capitalizing? I mean, there's a lot of them, but at the end of the day, if you look at that Philadelphia Eagles roster and you look at that Jets roster right now, and this game doesn't exist, what's everybody in this chat going to say? What's everybody on this podcast going to say? Philadelphia is about to dog walk them. And you know what I mean? So a lot of mistakes, but those games happen. I mean, how often do we see a team go 17-0? Last time we saw it was the Patriots, like back in like 08 or whatever, 07, one of the two, and they still lost in the Super Bowl to the Giants. So I'm not really too pressed about the loss. I would like to have gone into this next week 6-0 just because it's Miami, and that's a game. That's gonna be all telling. So not ideal to be 5-1. On top of that, the Cowboys winning the night just closed that gap. That gap is a lot closer than what people want to see it for. They only have 2 losses, and we got 1. And if we lose to Miami next week and Dallas wins next week, we're right back at square one. So not too pressed about it. It's putting us in a position to where we have to show up, and we're going to need to prove to the rest of the league, because a lot of I mentioned before, when you have that target on your back, when you're public enemy number 1, when you have the team that's everybody wants to lose so bad. I mean, good teams, they prevail past that. you find ways to win the game. And I think that's one of Philadelphia's biggest opportunities is when you're not winning by 1,000,000 points and you're not, running all over teams and whatnot, your defense is crushing the quarterback. You still have to find ways to win. And that's what separates brilliant teams from good teams. You find a way to win.
Well, and to follow up on that, if I may, before we hear Jaevon and Gary's thoughts on this game, because I have been asking Kevin about this through every win, and it's exactly what you just spoke about, finding ways to win no matter how the game is going and ultimately leaving with a win. The difference to me in the first 5 weeks between the 49ers and the Eagles is the 49ers, they were blowing out all of their competition, where the Eagles, to me, and again, this is the 49ers fan in me, but to me, the Eagles were sneaking by. And that same strategy kind of bit them in the butt against the Jets. And so are you worried at all about this Eagles team this year? Just because to me, they haven't looked like the same team, but it could just